All right, this video is a continuation of the grade 5 video on place value. So we talked about place value and how there's a pattern for place value, but part of our big idea was being able to represent large numbers. So we're going to talk about the different ways that you can represent numbers or show numbers. All right, the first way that you can represent numbers, and the one that we are most familiar with, is standard form. Standard form really just means number form. Just another way to say it. Standard form here for this number, we have 656,000, because that's in the thousands period. 792 is how you would say that number. It is written like this. Notice there is a space here between the 6 and the 7. In the United States, you'll often see they put a comma there. In Canada, we put a space there, and there must be a space there. It's extremely important for reading large numbers. If they are all strung together with no spaces, they become really difficult to read. So this is the way that we've alleviated that problem. We put a space every 3 numbers, basically, every section of numbers. So this would be the the units section, this would be the thousands section, and we could continue and have the millions section if we had a larger number. So we must put a space between groups of 3-digit numbers. When you are looking at a large number, however, sometimes numbers like this one don't have 3 digits in the front, and that's the only place you can have less than 3 digits. So for example, you could not write that same number as this and then space or space 00. That would not be correct. You have to have 3 digits in the back, and then you can have less than 3 digits in the front like they have there. All right, let's take a look at some of our numbers here. The other thing we're going to talk about is how to say these numbers. So if we have the Yukon River, we see here there's 3 numbers and then another 3 numbers. So that means this is going to be in the thousands period. So we would say 839,000, because that's the end of that period, 200. This last period, which is actually called the units period, we don't say the name of. We only say the name of the first period. 839,200. There should not be any ands. If you say and, that actually means a decimal. So do not say and. That's a very common mistake. Let's take a look at this next number. Turn to your partner or in your head, say what you think these next 2 numbers would be in word form, how they would be said. Go ahead and press pause and try that now. All right, let's take a look at those. Again, this number has 3 digits in the thousands period and 3 digits in the units period. So we would say 671,300. Here we would say 233,100. Now it's a little bit different, but not much, when we have a smaller number that doesn't have a full set of 3 digits in the period. We again just say the number as it is, 54,000, because it's still in the thousands period, 400. 54,400, excuse me. Press pause and try this smaller number. All right, so let's take a look. It should be 51,000, because that's in the thousands period, 600. 51,600 is how that number would be said. All right, now we're going to look at another way of communicating numbers. So we've had standard form, we've had word form, which could be written out in words or said. We have not yet had expanded notation. So let's look at expanded notation. Now there are 2 types of expanded notation, and I'll show you both, and you choose whichever one you feel more comfortable with. I'm just going to move this up a bit here. All right, so if we have here, let's take a look at this example, the Mackenzie River that flows into the Arctic Ocean and has a drainage area of 1 million, because we're in the millions period, 805,200 kilometers. This is how you would show it in expanded notation. So it's basically taking each place value and just saying that place value plus the next place value plus the next place value and so on. So this is 1 million, so you would write out 1 million, making sure to leave those spaces. 1 million plus, must have that plus sign there, the next number, which is the 8, and it is in the hundred thousands place, so it would be 800,000. And really what you're doing is you're just replacing those zeros afterwards, the 5 zeros. Again, remember to have that space. Plus, again, must have the plus. You could put in the zeros here if you wanted. You could have plus and then 5 zeros, but you don't need to. 5 is in the thousands place, so plus 5,000. 5, and then filling in these places with zeros, plus 200. Now, I'm going to show you one of the ways that I like to do it, or I've had more success with students trying to do it this way, because then their numbers are lined up. So I would start with the 1 million, and put my spaces in like I know I have to, and then line them up underneath instead. So 800,000. I could have those zeros in there if I wanted, but I don't have to. I'm going to choose to put them in this time. 5,000 plus 200. And again, you must have that plus sign. It is extremely important. Otherwise, you have just a list of numbers, and you need those numbers to add together to total this number, right? When we add all of this up, we would come up with that number. That would be another way that you could choose to show expanded notation, and perhaps the lining up of the places helps you to see that you haven't missed any, okay, or you haven't got the right number of zeros in there. So that might help. You're welcome to try it that way if you like. The other kind of expanded notation they have is with multiplication, and basically it's just taking the place value, so the millions place, and multiplying it by the number that is in that spot. So here we have the millions place. In that spot we have a 1, so 1 times 1 million, which we know is going to be 1 million. We have the 100,000 spot times 8, because there's 8 in that spot, so 8 times 100,000. We would have 1,000, and we have a 5 in the 1,000s place, so we would multiply 5 times 1,000. Now you'll notice that in between each of these there is the plus. You must have the plus sign, and you also need to have the brackets around them. That comes in more so in grade 6 when we talk about the order of operations, which we don't talk about in grade 5, but you'll notice that you have to do this part that's in the brackets first. That's why that is the case. You don't necessarily need to know about the order of operations, but do know that there must be brackets around each number from here. So 1 times 1 million, brackets, plus bracket 8 times 100,000, bracket, must have brackets enclosing each of those. So if we continue, we have our plus sign, of course. We're going on to our next digit, so we need to have a bracket to start it. We know it's the thousands place, and we know it's a 5, so we have to multiply 5 times 1,000, and so on. Now notice, it would not make a difference if you chose to write this as 1,000 times 5. That order doesn't matter when we're multiplying. It doesn't matter what order you multiply in. That is not the case for division, but it does work so for multiplication. All right, so now we're going to try the Yukon River, and we're going to try that in expanded notation. I'm going to stick with the first way because that seems to be more popular with grade 5 students thus far, but you're welcome to try whichever way you prefer. All right, so let's take a look there. I'm going to have to go more than one line here because it's a fairly large number, but I'm going to start with my 8, which I see is in the 100,000s place. So 8 with the 5 zeros following it. Need the plus sign, have the space. Then the 3, which is in the 10,000s place, so it's going to be 4 zeros, making sure I have the space. I need the plus sign. 9,000. Sometimes in 1,000 you'll see you don't need the space. 4 digits for some reason, people often don't put in the space. And then 200. So that works perfectly. Or you can try to do it the up and down way instead of across. Either is. All right, so that would not be any different. We would have our 800,000, 30,000. Sorry, I don't know why my pen is squeaking. 9,000 and 200. And now I have all my digits nicely lined up. And I would need, of course, a plus sign to make it work. So either way is perfectly fine. All right, let's take a look at trying it the second way. For those of you that tried it the second way, we could have 800,000. Oops, sorry, second way. Let me go back. That would be 1. Let me see if I can erase that. 1 sec. All right, there we go. 100,000 times 8, and that's in a group, so we're going to put that around it. I have a plus sign. Next, we're in the 10,000s place, and we're multiplying it by 3 because there's 3 10,000s there. Adding it. Next would be the thousands place, and there's 9 thousands, so we're going to multiply that because there's 9 groups of 1,000. Add that again. And now we're in the hundreds place, and there's 2 there, so we're going to multiply by 2, and there are no other digits, so we can stop there. We could, if we wanted, multiply the tens place times 0, which we know is 0, and the ones, add that to the ones place times 0, which we know is 0. It wouldn't change anything, but we could put those in if holding that place you find easier for yourself. All right. Now, you're going to try the Columbia River, and you're going to try the, let's go the Stikine River. Stikine? Not sure. River. We'll try one with 5 digits and one with 6 digits. Choose whichever way you prefer, first or second, doesn't matter. Press pause now and try that yourself. All right, let's take a look. So Columbia River, I'm going to do the first way. 600,000 was our first place, plus 70,000, 7 in the 10,000s place, plus 1 in the thousands place, so 1,000, plus 3 in the hundreds place, plus 300. And you could have that written the up and down way, or in a row like this if you prefer, whichever one you find more helpful. If you were doing this in the multiplication manner, we would have the 100,000s times 6, because there's 6 in that place, plus the 10,000s times 7, because there's 7 in that place, plus the 1,000s times 1, because there's 1 in that place, plus the 100 times 3, because there's 3 in that place. So there you go, both ways. Check yours and see how you did. All right, let's try the last one. 51,600 kilometers. First way I'm going to do it the up and down way this time, so I have 50,000 in my first place there, a 1 in the thousands place, fill those in with zeros, making sure I have my spaces, a 600, and there's no other digits, so I don't have to fill anything in. I could fill in the zeros if I wanted to, making sure I have my plus sign, very important to show that I'm adding all of these up. Multiplication way, well, in the 10,000s place, oops, I didn't leave a space there, let's go back. There we are. In the 10,000s place, there are 5 of them, so I'm going to multiply by 5, and that's a group, so I'm going to put a bracket around it, Add, and now I'm going to go down a row. I wouldn't necessarily have to, but I'm going to because I've run out of room, because I've got this set of numbers here. Next we have the thousands place, and I'm going to multiply that by 1 because there's only a 1 in the thousands place. Next I have the hundreds place, and I'm going to multiply that by 6 because there's a 6 in the hundreds place. And I need to remember to have those adding signs, addition signs in between. So that's what it would be in the multiplication format. All right, so now we've practiced expanded form. All right, going to give you a little bit more practice now. I'd like you to try to put these 3 numbers, actually let's just do 2 because we're a little bit tight on time. Let's do this number and this number in a place value chart, in expanded form, and in word form. Now, when you're writing them out in word form, remember, or I don't think I've told you this yet actually, between the periods where we have a space in the word form, that would be a comma. We'll look at that when we correct yours together. So press pause and try those 2 now. All right, let's start with place value form. I've taken a place value chart and just copied and pasted it in. You would have to have made your own, remembering that there's the hundreds, tens, ones, and then there's the 1,000s, 10,000s, 100,000s. If you want, you can put the 1 there to help you. You don't have to if you don't want to. So in a place value chart, it's best to start from the back. I'm going to start with 85,641. So 1, 4, 6, 5, and 8, and we would have no digit there. The place value chart for 807,601. Again, starting at the end, you do have to put those zeros in. They are placeholders so that the 6 can be in the hundreds place, the 7 can be in the thousands place, and the 8 can be in the 100,000s place. And I'll divide those with lines there. So that would be our place value chart format. Now, expanded form. I'm going to do 1 up and down, adding way, and then I'm going to do the other one multiplication. So 80,000 plus 5,000, 5 in the thousands place, 6 in the hundreds place, so 600, 40 in the tens place, so 40, and 1, and we need the adding sign, and there we go. Now for multiplication format, we see that that's in the 100,000s place, so 100,000. Oops, again I forgot that space. Let's fix that. And there's 8 there, so I'm going to multiply by 8. That's a group, so I'm going to put brackets around it, and I need to add it. There's nothing in the 10,000s place, so I don't have to put anything there, but there is a digit in the thousands place, and there's 7 of the 7,000, so times 7, adding, and then we have the hundreds place, and there's 600, so I'm going to multiply by 6, and then we have nothing in the tens, so I don't need anything there, and then in the ones place we have 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. So there we go, expanded form for both of those. Take a look and check yours. All right, let's try word form. We've got 85,000, so 85. We need to hyphen because it's a number less than 99 and it's a 2-digit number. So 85,000 because it's in the thousands period. And this is where we would put that comma where our space is. Now 640 hyphen, because it's a 2-digit number, 641. And 800 7, and that's in the thousands period, so 1,000, comma, because that's the end of that period, 600, oops, not one word, 601. That would be word form for those two. So now we've shown those 2 numbers in 3 different ways, and it's also shown in a 4th way. This again is standard form. Last question. I'd like you to try to make this number or this expanded form into a standard form, because sometimes we have to take the number and make it back into its original form, standard form. So press pause and try that now. All right, now this kind I really like to do up and down, because sometimes that makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to start with 300,000 plus 200,000. Oh, see, they tried to trick us there. Plus 8,000, so 8 in the thousands place. 700. Oh, I'm running out of room. All right, continuing. 20. Oops. 20 and 2. So now when I add all of these up, I can see what my new number is going to be. And of course, I do need to have that adding sign. So here we know it's 2. There's nothing else. 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 7, 8, 0, and then 5, because we've got 3 and 2 there. And that's kind of written over that line there, so I'm going to write it over here. So we have 508,722 in standard form, and remembering we need to have that space between our periods. Perfect. All right, now you're going to go on to the concept practice in your textbook, page 45 and 46, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 13. Remember, concept practice is your chance to practice the skills. It does become homework, and we will mark and discuss it together. You are working on representing numbers up to 1 million. If you have any questions along the way, make sure that you ask. Look back at your Connect section, check with your neighbor, and of course ask me. Now, after you've done your concept practice, exit slip is one that you can work on. You will have a paper copy, but if for some reason your paper copy is misplaced, you are welcome to copy it down from here. So this is your opportunity to show your understanding. This must be handed in, and it's my way to check to see if you're understanding what we're doing so far. So making sure that you remember when you're writing on your page, if you're writing it down, that you record that this is an exit slip. You record the concept. It is place value in large numbers. Make sure, of course, you add your name, and then do the questions. I know they are numbered oddly, but I'd like you to put the numbers that you are using, please. So follow the numbers that are given here, because I've taken them from a number of different places. And hand in when you're finished. Good luck.